I have thought often about the timing that the Rotherham scandal was unleashed on the public. It had been going on for years and years, and all of a sudden, everyone became aware of it at precisely the same time as politicians and assorted elite groups were accused of organised paedophilia over decades. And just as that was about to be investigated, supposedly, how many times has it been postponed now? It's never going to happen, is it? We find out that young girls have been prostituted in Rotherham. Now, in point of fact, these young girls were not children. I'm sorry it happened to them, but they were not children. In the eyes of the law, yes. In the eyes of biology, no. Specifically, a paedophile is interested in children, youngsters who have not reached puberty. A hebephile is interested in young adolescents, and a ephebophilia is interested in more mature adolescents, i.e. about 15 to 19. Anyone who has interfered with or sexually assaulted a sexually mature person is not a paedophile, in point of fact. If they have interfered with youngsters who are not sexually mature, then they are paedophiles. And yet, we were told over and over that the Rotherham pimps were paedophiles. No, they weren't. They were pimps, yes. And I dare say they had groomed these young adolescents for prostitution. And I don't doubt that a lot of those young girls were raped. But they were not children. They were adolescents. I'm not excusing rape in any way, shape or form. And I'm not excusing pimps in any way, shape or form. All I'm saying is that we were inundated with the papers absolutely overflowing with details of the Rotherham case at precisely the time that many decades of abuse of children, paedophilia, was being exposed and has now been swept back under the rug more times than I can shake a stick at. It has not been investigated, and it never will be. And I've even seen people arguing in groups, mind you, I think they were trolls. One of them apparently found it amusing. I've even seen people arguing there is no difference between the seduction of a 15-year-old, not the rape, the seduction of a 15-year-old and the rape of a 2-year-old. No difference. Well, all I can say is tell that to the 2-year-old. At that age, he or she will have physical damage that lasts for life. Not just emotional, not merely, I can't find the right word, I don't want to trivialize. By any means, I don't want to trivialize the psychological damage, but a young child will suffer physical damage for the rest of their lives. For example, one 4-year-old I read about who had her cervix, quote unquote, shredded. We are being distracted from the problem which has been going on probably all of the 20th century, and certainly for at least 50 years. Institutional, elite paedophilia, the rape of little children. We are having our attention diverted from that to, well, the Rotherham gang, who actually, I believe, were acting on a franchise. I believe that I have evidence even that in the Rotherham area, all of that had been going on, since the turn of the 20th century, 19th, 20th century. Turn it over to the Muslims, and you can blame it on the Muslims. It's their culture. It's their fault. No, well, it may well be part of their culture. I'm sorry to say it's also part of ours, and has been for a very, very, very long time. In particular, Rochdale, Rotherham, the whole of that area has been a cesspit, a satanic paedophilia from at least 1900, and probably long before. So the purpose of this is A, blame another culture. And don't get me wrong, it would appear that Islam does openly approve paedophilia. The difference being that our culture doesn't openly approve it. It just turns a blind eye and winks at it. And in the meantime, while we are diverted by footballers who seduced one 15-year-old girl, who's going to get a long jail sentence, by the way, and the Etonian who downloaded 2,000 or so images of 2-year-olds being raped, and raped by animals as well, while that Etonian gets off scot-free, the man who seduced a 15-year-old, i.e. an Ephebophilia, not a paedophile, he's getting a long time in jail. We are allowing ourselves to be brainwashed into thinking it is the same thing. And if anything, for some reason, seducing the adolescent, one of them, is actually worse than raping 2-year-olds. They are getting away with making us fools.